Well, the first point is that in the near term, this is nowhere to be a risk, and we're going to see low inflation for the next few quarters and maybe year. But this policy revolution that has been put in place is raising much bigger question over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And I think the balance of risk has clearly shifted to the upside for inflation. It will depend on, whether we are able to put guardrails around the deployment of these policies that have been put in place. But I think the risk is squarely to the upside. We're going to have very significant deficit, and central banks that will be very careful not to raise rates or to remove the stimulus very quickly. And that's a combination, a recipe for somewhat more inflation than what we've seen. So not now, but I do see medium-term risk on inflation.
So what does this all mean for portfolio allocation? What are you doing now?
So right now, on the near-term tactical view, it's mostly about tracking the evolution of the virus, and I think the policy response theme is very strong and leads to us being very positive on the credit space overall. So that would be the key takeaway in the near term. From a more strategic perspective, I think we are seeing bigger questions around the role of government bonds in portfolio. I think central banks now pushing rates and keeping rates very low, and in fact, implementing yield curve control in many places will make government bonds less useful as protection and ballast in portfolio. So we're reviewing the role of government bonds in portfolio, and I think building up some insurance against inflation in the medium term through TIPS and inflation protecting securities is another kind of thing to do and consider at this time. The last thing I would say is that what we're going through is a very big structural shock, and it's requiring a bigger rethink of portfolio from a strategic horizon. So we need to rethink about how we build resilience. We think about the role of government bonds. Like I said, inflation is a big question. And then there's going to be behavioral change that will lead to different kind of source of returns as well around digitalization, supply chain dynamics that are playing at a sectoral level.